Welcome again, dear viewers, to the increasingly unrelenting screeching on my channel that I have taken to calling Ron Takes Twitter Seriously. Today, we're discussing the communist question. As I have said in the past, one should perhaps not take any endeavor too seriously. But of the endeavors it is possible to take seriously, Twitter should be taken the least seriously. It is a hive of scum and villainy. It is designed to embolden people's worst instincts. It is a bad place where bad people go to do bad things. And yet, even here, you will find once in a blue moon, or once a week if you're online as much as I am, something that is worth taking seriously. And I do believe that this should be taken seriously, although not in the way that this person supposed. For some context, IBM, the company, tweeted out a bog-standard support for Pride, including a short video. Lance of the Serfs, a friend of the channel, tweeted in response to that, "Reminder, IBM was complicit in the Holocaust." Minor note here, IBM was complicit in the Holocaust. That is not in dispute. And, in response to the Serfs, the omni-liberal, better known as popular disgraced Twitch streamer and advocate for drunken rednecks shooting protesters, Destiny, responded with friendly reminder that the largest socialist country in history essentially allied with Nazi Germany during World War II. This is bad. This is bad for a lot of reasons, and we're going to get into as many as I can think of. So the first thing that comes to mind, at least to me, is that the claim itself is disingenuous. The assertion itself is disingenuous. The serfs were not defending the USSR. And most modern socialists will not defend the USSR. In fact, I've gone on record as to stating before that Joey Steele's crimes are at least comparable to Nazi Germany and the scope of damage they did to the world. And there's an important point that I think needs to be made here. It is not just that responding to capitalism did bad with socialism also did bad is cheap meandering whataboutism, but also that whataboutism is done to score cheap political points rather than participating in the conversation. One can be critical, a little bit, of the statement that the serfs made. One can be critical of the way that the statement was made, but this is literally neither of those things. This statement is just screaming for attention, and going forward, I think it's important to keep that in mind. The second reason that this is bad is because it is ahistorical and a fraught comparison, for a number of different reasons. For starters, the USSR literally does not exist anymore, and has not existed since 1991. IBM does still exist. They can be held accountable for their actions. Who would you demand accountability from if we were talking about the USSR? What person? What group of people? It also needs to be understood that the USSR, the country, had different motivations than IBM, the corporation. The USSR had to worry about supplies, it had to worry about the welfare of its people, and it had to worry about subjugation and its people being slaughtered. IBM did not have to worry about these things because they are a corporation. They cooperated with Nazi Germany solely for the sake of profit. And I want to specifically note here that I am not claiming that the USSR's history with LGBTQIA+ folk was good and cool. It's not. The USSR put LGBT people in concentration camps just the same that the Nazis did. I am not absolving the USSR of their crimes, and I have no interest in doing that. I am just providing context. Which brings me to the third reason that this is bad. The USSR destroyed Nazi Germany. Not entirely, and not by themselves, but if any nation that has ever existed on this earth deserves the bulk of the credit for annihilating the Nazis, it is the USSR. And while we are noting that the USSR destroyed Nazi Germany, we should also note that they were only able to do that at a simply unfathomable cost of human life. The USSR lost 10 million troops during World War II, and a further 10 million civilians to Nazi war crimes. That's 20 million people from their country gone. Comparatively, the United States lost less than 450,000 people, civilians and soldiers, on both fronts. And it is also worth noting that at least some of the people killed by the Nazis in Russia were themselves victims of the Holocaust, making this comparison especially fraught. And to be clear, I'm not here to parse out whether or not the USSR was complicit in the Holocaust. I do not possess the historical knowledge to do that, and more importantly, the USSR had concentration camps of their own, for political dissidents. Rather, the point that I'm trying to make by bringing up this historical context is that any conflation between the USSR and IBM is necessarily disingenuous and petty. Which brings us to the fourth reason that this is bad. This is literally bad faith. Going back to the instigator of this, Lance's criticism of IBM was not, well, IBM helped the Nazis, and that makes their support of Pride disingenuous. Lance's criticism of IBM was, well, IBM, as a company, will do anything they can to secure a profit, up to and including collaborating with the Nazis. So it might be helpful to view their support of Pride as at least a little bit disingenuous. And that is what makes this statement not just bad, but actively malicious. The statement that Lance was trying to make was not about Nazi Germany. It was about the co-option of pride by capitalist interests, about rainbow capitalism. But Destiny is not willing and not able to have that conversation because he's a neoliberal creep. He is not willing to question capitalism and their interests. So instead of having that conversation, he pivots. He changes the conversation to one that he thinks he can win. Who was worse, Nazi Germany or the USSR? It is either infuriatingly petty or shockingly dishonest, and quite frankly, I'm not sure which option is worse. Either way, it is a statement that deserves to be criticized, which is what I've been doing. So there. Yeah. Do it. Let's see what else is over on the timeline. You know, I think I might have a take about rainbow capitalism as long as we're talking about that. Related to this conversation is this statement by reformed bigot and current noncommittal centrist Hunter Avalone. The statement being, hot take, rainbow capitalism is good, actually. No, it's not. Should I pretend that I'm expecting Hunter to watch this? Nah. While I won't state that rainbow capitalism is entirely bad, any acceptance of minorities is typically good. There are specific reasons that rainbow capitalism is more harmful to LGBTQIA+ folk than it is beneficial. A principle among those is the capitalism bit. And look, I know that this is old hat, capitalism bad, but I'm an anarchist. It's in the name. I'm here to talk about why anarchism is good and hierarchies are bad. If you didn't want me to talk about capitalism, if you didn't expect me to talk about capitalism, then you clearly don't understand anarchism, hierarchies, or capitalism. And you know, I don't have a whole thing written out about this. I'm just gonna do quick fire off the top of my head things, so you're gonna deal with that. Thing number one, rainbow capitalism necessarily presupposes that there is already equality between LGBT people and not LGBT people. And that is simply not true. Not just in the sense that LGBT people have specifically been targeted for harassment and disenfranchisement in the past, not just in the context that LGBT people are specifically targeted for harassment and disenfranchisement in the present, but that LGBT people are still currently being actively discriminated against, both by people, by society, and by the law. And that's not just the TERF shit. There's a lot of TERF shit going around all over the world and all over this country, but there's also a lot of anti-gay people stuff going around all over the world. Last I heard, Poland was still trying to outlaw gay people. And one of the functions of rainbow capitalism is to just kind of push that to the side. Presume that equality has already been achieved when it has not been achieved. And that is harmful to the LGBT community. And just leaving that at legal discrimination is doing it undue charity, but I don't have a whole lot of time to get into this shit. I will state, by way of an example of a non-legal form of discrimination, LGBT people are still discriminated against by the YouTube algorithm. That is, the platform that both Hunter and I use to make videos, to spread content, and to make money. A little bit. Maybe we need to have a discussion about that. The second problem I can think of off the top of my head is capitalist appropriation of LGBTQ culture. Now, I know that appropriation is one of those words that gets people who aren't in the know, gets their knickers in a twist, so let me explain. It is not a bad thing that LGBT people have been so active in our culture. I'm not here to tell you that He-Man is bad. I'm not here to tell you that Ellen DeGeneres is bad. I'm not here to tell you that RuPaul's Drag Race is bad. For example, did you know that the He-Man studio was the gayest place in Hollywood? I didn't until I watched a Creationist Cat video about it. Also, did you know that the person responsible for most of the music in Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid was a gay man who died of AIDS? I didn't until earlier this month when I watched it in a video. One of the things that I would expect to be said in defense of rainbow capitalism is that it helps normalize gay culture. But you cannot say that it helps to normalize gay culture if gay people are not credited with the culture that they are created. Culture that they have created. There's also the issue of compensation. It's kind of shitty to take someone's thing and then take credit for it and not compensate the person you took the thing from for their thing. Especially when there are so many LGBT people who live in poverty, who live on the streets. And I guess that can bring us to the third problem with rainbow capitalism that I can think of off the top of my head. Poverty? Let's just generally call it poverty. The kind of acceptance that rainbow capitalism presupposes is not only actively harmful to LGBT people, but is only beneficial to the already moneyed class. Circling this back around to the point from the beginning, it is disingenuous for IBM to say that they support gay people, they support LGBT people, when they actively deny loans to LGBT people for things like houses or cars. And that discrimination is much more harmful to LGBT people, specifically because they live in poverty at higher rates than straight and cisgendered people. At least in part due to that discrimination. And that's not to say that there aren't straight or cisgendered people who live in poverty. I am all of those things. It's to say that it's really kind of shitty to say, "Congratulations, queers! Now you can work yourself to death like every other red-blooded American," when they were already doing that. So yeah, that's take number 2. Rainbow capitalism is bad because capitalism is bad. 2 for the price of 1. Never said I never did anything nice for you. And I am all said out. Regular links are in the underbar. That is my Ko-Fi, if you found this to be worth supporting financially in any way. Don't feel obligated to give me money. I'm still going to keep doing this regardless of whether or not I get supported to do it. This is something that's important to me. The reason that I haven't been able to make videos recently is because... Just a sec. The fan on my computer, the case fan, this thing, gave out. So I had to replace it. And it took like a month for the fan to get here. It actually, the first one I ordered didn't get here, and I had to buy a second one. That took like a week to get here. My computer, I call it Leviathan, is getting to be that age where regular maintenance needs to be done to keep it up and going. Not heavy maintenance, although I have done some heavy maintenance, just regular maintenance. And replacing a fan is one of those things. And hey, that's not a big deal. I'm happy to do. I feel like I lost the thread. I have a Curious Cat in the description as well if you want to go there and ask me anonymous questions, or just send me anonymous harassment. You can do that. Send me anonymous harassment. I'll probably delete it. My Twitter is also in the description if you want to see what I'm getting up to on Twitter. I think the last thing I did was I talked about how my cat was keeping me from recording videos because he wanted to cuddle. Which I did because I love my cat. Let's see what the next video is going to be about. Unemployment. Unemployment in the coronavirus. I remember this. I have some takes about this. So, until we get there, go do something important and take care of yourselves. Alright?